Happy April 1st and welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr. Thank you so much for hanging out here with us. And the Philadelphia Eagles just received some breaking news from the NFL on the Tush Push ban. We're going to go through all of that, and I have a lot of thoughts. But before we dive in, if you want the Tush Push brotherly shove to stay, for it to continue to be a legal play in the NFL, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If not, I want you to explain your reasoning and comment why. So the breaking news from the NFL this morning from the NFL owners meetings in Palm Beach is that the Tush Push ban proposed by the Green Bay Packers has been tabled until May. A decision was supposed to come today from the NFL owners meetings as a vote was supposed to happen, but the NFL is not going to do that and further discussion is needed. So right now, the Tush Push lives on, perhaps for another month, perhaps for the entire 2025 season and beyond. As we know, the Packers proposed that the play get banished from the NFL, citing safety concerns and pace of play issues. 24 of 32 owners need to vote yes on the ban. But according to reports from all of the top NFL insiders, and this is news that is well known by now, the vote is split evenly, 50-50. 16 teams voted to keep the play, 16 teams voted for it to get banned. So where we stand right now, we are 8 teams short of the needed 24 votes to get rid of the brotherly shove and the Tush Push. So I think what this means going forward is that this is going to be discussed at the next league meeting in May. And obviously, the 16 teams who want the play taken away from the NFL, whether it be because of safety concerns, pace of play issues, competitive advantage, or they're just jealous that they can't run the play in a dominant fashion like the Eagles, are going to try to sway and convince 8 more owners across the NFL to vote yes on the ban. And I think that what could also transpire is that an iteration of the Tush Push brotherly shove could live on, and the Eagles and other teams could continue to run this play in a certain manner. But I think the language of the rule could be altered. It could be tweaked. It could be changed in a big way, in a little way, and that could lead to the play staying, but it could look a little bit different. And the brotherly shove and the Tush Push, as we know right now, with Jalen Hurts taking the snap from under center and then getting pushed after the snap by some of his fellow offensive players from behind, that might not happen. If the play is changed, and I think with this conversation being tabled for another month, it's a loss for the Philadelphia Eagles, because even though the vote fell short, the Packers needed 24 votes. They only got 16. Those against it, this is a minor win because the conversation is going to continue. The Packers and other teams who are against the rule, against the play, could try to still have dialogue, have conversations for why this play shouldn't be a part of the NFL. And the Eagles right now are looking at this saying, well, hold on. Here at the NFL owners meetings, we were told that 24 votes were needed to get rid of the Tush Push. The Green Bay Packers only got 16 votes. That means that in 2025, at the very least, the brotherly shove should stay. But the NFL is continuing this discourse and this conversation for another month, and then they will revisit all of this in May at the next NFL meetings. And so what bothers me is that the Eagles are the only team in the NFL that has perfected the iteration of this play in a dominant fashion. No other team has been able to perfect it and execute it at the clip of the Philadelphia Eagles And there's a large sample size of the Eagles being able to convert this. And for any team out there that has safety concerns, the NFL conducted a study. This play over the last 3 years has been run 300 plus times. There's a large sample size which shows it is not a dangerous play. And this even split is very fascinating. I mean, we're talking about this being right down the middle. So the National Football League is truly divided on the ruling of the tush push. And this has been the topic of the offseason. Going back to the NFL Combine, when we were there, everybody was asking general managers and coaches about the tush push, the validity of it, whether it should stay, whether it should be banned. This has now become the biggest talking point of the NFL owners' meetings. And so now teams against it will work toward trying to get 8 more votes over the next month. Lane Johnson taking to X saying this, hate us because they ain't us. And what's interesting is that a lot of teams who voted to keep it because they don't believe that the Packers ban proposal is coming from a good place. A lot of the teams who are for keeping it think that the Packers and other teams want to banish it because they simply haven't been able to find success in running their version of the brotherly shove. Howie Roseman has talked about building the trenches as a healthy obsession. He's always trying to bulk up the offensive line, bulk up the defensive line. And in this case, the Eagles have arguably the best offensive line in football. They have a quarterback who can squat 500, 600 pounds. Jalen Hurts' lower body strength is a big reason why the Eagles don't just convert this very efficiently, but they pick up 1, 2, 3 yards, and they are rarely stopped. And Nick Sirianni has talked about how much they practice this, the timing, the anticipation of this play, what's required to execute it in a way that the Eagles have been able to execute it. And what's interesting is that this really started a few years ago when Nick Sirianni started to think of ways to run a quarterback sneak differently with Andrew Luck and Jacoby Brissett. And then the Eagles started running quarterback sneaks with Jalen Hurts. Then they started to motion Dallas Goedert into the backfield. And then Nick Sirianni came up with the idea to have multiple offensive players in the backfield. Then the Eagles started to revolutionize this a little bit. And there was evolution. They've adapted. They've evolved. Other teams haven't. And the Eagles have started to run other plays off of this. A handoff to Saquon Barkley. A fake tush push and pass. We saw in the NFL playoffs, they tried to go over the top to A.J. Brown off of the tush push. And the mentality here that I have, everybody's complaining about this on social media, whether it be responding to the Eagles account, which just tweeted out, hands behind a peach, tush push, whether it be me putting out commentaries on this, or other people tweeting about it. No one likes us, we don't care. I feel as though a lot of people want this play banned because it's the Philadelphia Eagles. After 2022, when the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl, people wanted it taken away. There wasn't a lot of conversation last year when the Eagles lost 6 of 7 of taking away the tush push. But now that the Eagles have won the Super Bowl and they made it to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years and they've had so much success as a team, and a small fraction of their success has been with the tush push, now the conversation has become, we got to take this play away. What's telling is that those who voted to keep it don't agree with the intention of the rule proposal. They don't believe the Packers and other teams are coming from a good place. Many teams believe that teams want it banned because they simply can't find success in running it their own way. And I think Sean McDermott, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, has become a laughingstock here. He looks like a fool. He cites safety concerns and it not being a football play. Other teams are saying it's a rugby play. Jordan Mailata played rugby. He has said it is not a rugby play. It's completely different. And for Sean McDermott to cite safety concerns, yet run it the second most times in the NFL last year, does that mean that Sean McDermott doesn't care about the safety of his own players? The Bills went 0-4 in the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs, trying to run their version of the brotherly shove and the tush push. They were stopped time and time again. And you know what happened? Steve Spagnuolo, Chiefs defensive coordinator, one of the best in the game, one of the best defensive minds of all time, noticed that in their tape study, in the lead up to that game, they knew that the Bills were going to run it a lot with Josh Allen being 6'6", 240, 250 pounds, and the Bills had found a lot of success in running the tush push. But they noticed, Steve Spagnuolo did, the Chiefs defense, that every time Josh Allen takes the snap, he goes to the left. So what did the Chiefs do? They guarded that play, knowing that Josh Allen was going to run to the offense's left and the defense's right. And they stopped the Bills 4 times. But then Kansas City against the Eagles couldn't stop the brotherly shove on that Jalen Hurts touchdown. Now, some people will say, oh, the Eagles only won the Super Bowl because they ran an illegal play. Folks, it was 34-0. 1 touchdown came on the brotherly shove. The Philadelphia Eagles throttled the Kansas City Chiefs defensively, offensively in that game, well beyond just the brotherly shove. And I also think that in addition to Sean McDermott looking like a fool, the Green Bay Packers look soft. They can't run it themselves. We saw Jordan Love in that infamous clip try to run the brotherly shove. He tripped over his feet. Green Bay has been very vocal about the ban. Now, it doesn't pass, but the potential possibilities of this play being taken away live on. Imagine if the presidential election came down to something like this, where somebody won the election, right? And it was clear that they got enough votes, or the candidate who didn't win didn't get enough votes. And then the ruling was, we got to table this election. Let's revisit it here in a month. The Packers needed 24 votes. They got 16. That should mean that the Philadelphia Eagles should be able to run this play. It's ridiculous. So I took to social media, and this is just one of the many things that I said. Give me a follow at Chase_Senior. The Tush Push ban needed 24 votes. It got 16. Not enough to ban the play. That should mean that the Tush Push remains intact for 2025, yet the 16 teams now have more time to convince the other NFL teams to sway their votes to banish the play. That's not fair. I think that's a win for the Packers and a loss for the Eagles, even though the Packers' proposal didn't get enough votes. None of this really makes sense to me, and the Packers' reasoning is bullshit. You want to cite safety concerns. Well, the NFL study shows there aren't any safety issues. You want to talk about pace of play. Any quarterback sneak that has ever been run is identical to the pace of play of the brotherly shove. There's no data that backs up injury concerns. Sean McDermott wants it banned. He's very vocal about it, yet he ran it at the second highest rate in the NFL last year. And Sean McVay wants it taken away. Well, Sean McVay, don't give up 400-plus rushing yards to Saquon Barkley in 2 matchups last year. That's the reason you lost to the Eagles, not because of the brotherly shove. And how about Sean McVay? What a hypocrite. He introduced a lot of modern-day evolution as far as pre-snap motion and arena football concepts. Remember when you couldn't have offensive weapons motioning before the play? Or sometimes what Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins kind of introduced, which is players kind of moving forward toward the line of scrimmage in an arena football concept-like way before the snap. All of that used to be illegal. The shotgun was introduced in the 1970s, where quarterbacks could take the snap out of the shotgun. That wasn't banned. After years of only running quarterbacks from under center, football is about adapting, evolving, creating new plays, finding a competitive edge, all within the rules. The Philadelphia Eagles have been able to do that. So for all of these teams who want to do away with the tush push, just admit you can't replicate it, you can't stop it, and now you want it taken away. So no one likes us, we don't care. It's the Eagles in Philadelphia against the world. I want everybody right now who's for the tush push to spam F them down in the comment section, because that's my attitude right now. especially our coworker Jeffrey Cooperstein, who tweets out, "The Eagles are the most hateable franchise outside of the Houston Astros." What a bum. Eagles draft hats are available, chatsports.com/Eagles draft hats. Get yours today. A couple of different styles available. If you want the snapback or the fitted, you have that option at your disposal as well. You have this version in addition to the dad hat look if you like that, with it being more snug on your head. Chatsports.com/Eagles draft hats. Draft coming up at the end of April. And we'll see what happens with the Tush Push next month.